We are back with a brand new video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about exploring some possibilities with moving Bam Adebayo to the power forward position. I saw a lot of comments about that in my video. I didn't really address that in the last video. I was more talking about trading for guys like Donovan Mitchell and etc. So I haven't really talked about the whole Bam to the four thing. And a lot of you guys made some good points in the comment section below. So yeah, thank you guys for using the comment section. Like, you guys have been killing the comments, man. I've been seeing a lot of comments, not just from Heat fans, from other fans as well, talking about the Mitchell trade. But yeah, I've seen a lot of comments about Bam to the four position, like a lot of them. And we got to talk about, Bam Adebayo and his future with this team. I obviously think that he should stay with this team long term. I think he should be a guy that we don't really trade unless we really find a clear upgrade at that center position, especially defensively, because Bam does so much for us defensively. I think our defense would fall off a cliff without him. I don't really think he gets credit for that, but unless there's like an Embiid or someone like that out there, there's no reason for us to trade Bam. So he's definitely going to stay long term. And a lot of people think that we should move him to the four. And while I do think that this could be intriguing, I doubt the Heat are going to explore this possibility. I think he's going to stay as a five. The league is getting smaller and smaller, and I know that rebounding has been one of our biggest problems, but I think that Spo and Pat Riley, they really like an idea of a Swiss Army knife power forward next to Bam. I don't really think they like the stretch big. We tried it a couple times with Myers Leonard and Kelly Olynyk, and they quickly changed that halfway through the season. I think we tried Myers throughout the first half of the 2020 season, and then we changed it to Jay Crowder once we traded for him. And then Kelly Olynyk, who we kind of used after Jay Crowder left in the beginning of the season, of the next season, and then we kind of we traded him. Obviously, we stuck with Trevor Ariza to end the season, and then this season we used PJ Tucker. So hasn't really been consistent for Bam as a front court partner. We haven't really had that guy that has been with Bam for a couple years now. Like, I think the front court partner for Bam has consistently been changing, and PJ Tucker has been probably a guy that Bam has played with a lot more than other guys. So I doubt they're gonna change that combination. But if they did move Bam to the four, we're gonna be talking about some of these possible guys that the Heat can get in place of PJ Tucker at that second front court position. And some of these guys I'm looking at the comments right now, and shout out to Benaiah Knox. He gave me a list of names that you could use to upgrade the center position and move Bam to the four. Mo Bamba was the first name that he gave me. As much as I would like Mo Bamba's fit with the team, I think he would fit really well next to Bam. He is a restricted free agent, if I'm not mistaken, and we do not have the cap space to sign him outright. So it would either have to be a sign and trade, which I think is pretty much unlikely. I think the Magic are looking to move him on, especially because they're probably going to draft a front court player with the #1 overall pick this season. But it kind of depends on the return for Bamba. I don't really know what we would give up for him, especially if he's asking for a lot of money, because he's a free agent this season. So he is an option. Although I would love the fit, I don't really think, like, I'm going to give like a meter, like out of 1 to 10, how likely do I think this could happen. For Mo Bamba, I'm going to give it like a 4. Like, I really don't think there's a possibility that Mo Bamba is going to get traded to the Heat, or signed with the Heat. Ivica Zubac was the second option that Benaiah gave us. And I mean, although he's a really underrated center in my opinion, I just don't see the fit with Bam, because I think if you need to play a center alongside Bam, the center will need to have 2 attributes that will have to be key in his play next to Bam. Number 1, they have to stretch the floor, and number 2, they have to protect the rim. And number 3, they have to be good on the glass. Now, the problem with Zubac is that although he's a good rim protector and he's a pretty good rebounder, he just cannot space the floor. And you have having him and Bam out there, especially with Jimmy at the 3, another guy who's a non-shooter basically from the 3-point line. I know he shot in the playoffs some threes, but let's be honest, Jimmy's not a 3-point shooter. But having those 3 in the front court, I really don't like the spacing there. So I doubt the Heat are going to go with a guy like Zubac. So I'm going to give the likelihood of that like as a 1 or 2. The Clippers might be looking to trade him, but I just don't see the fit with him and Bam. Miles Turner is a really good option for me. I really like Miles Turner's fit with Bam Adebayo, especially because there has been some uncertainty in Indiana between him and the organization. I don't know if he's going to be traded or not, because they just traded Sabonis, so they might be looking to keep him. But I think depending on what they do with the 6th pick, whether they go with like a Keegan Murray or something, they might be looking to pair him up with Turner. If not, if they go with the guard, they might be looking to move Turner on. But yeah, depending on if Miles Turner's available or not, I think this is a really good fit, and I do think that Indiana would be willing to take some of our pieces in return. I've seen a lot of Tyler Hero in Miles Turner packages. Probably wouldn't be willing to give up Tyler Hero in a Miles Turner trade because the value is just not there for me. I think Turner is a good player, but I think you only trade Hero if you're trading him for a star player or a potential star player in return. And Miles Turner is clearly as good of a player that he is. He's not a star, or he's not going to be a star in the future. He's going to be a good complementary piece. And you do not trade your best young asset that could be on the market for that. So, yeah, I mean, the likelihood of a trade with the Pacers for Miles Turner, I'll give it like a 5 or a 6. I think that it is a possibility, and I do think that the future with him in Indiana is uncertain. But it would have to be the Pacers would have to trade him to us, and they would have to like the pieces that we have to offer in return. Christian Wood is another guy that I really like his fit with Bam. I'm actually going to give this like a 7 or an 8. I think there's a high chance that he gets traded from Houston this season. I don't think he fits their timeline, and I don't think it's going to be too hard to trade for him, especially because he's on a very team-friendly contract. I think he's only making about 13 to 14 million, so it's not that big. And Christian Wood is a very above-average center. He can definitely stretch the floor, and he can definitely rebound the ball. Protecting the rim is kind of questionable for him. He's like okay, but I think with the Heat system, especially with Bam next to him, I think you can be a little bit average or below average at that. So I really like Christian Wood. I think he's the best option if you want a true center next to Bam. Yeah, man. I mean, if you were gonna get a center and have a big man to play the 5 and have Bam be the power forward of the future, you would need to have a guy like Christian Wood at the top of your list. You know what I'm saying? So I would really love Christian Wood's fit with the Miami Heat, and I do think that there is a good chance that the Heat could trade for him if the Rockets make him available, which, like I said, I think he's going to get made available this season because, like I said with the Magic, I think the Rockets are also taking a front court player with the 3rd pick, whether that's Paolo or Chet or Jabari. You have whoever you draft at 3, and then you also have Alperen Şengün. So yeah, I think there's a good chance that Christian Wood gets moved in the offseason, and I don't see why the Heat cannot try to pounce on a guy like that if they need to. Some other centers that are that Benaya mentioned, I think the last 2 were Jakob Pertl or JaVale McGee. JaVale McGee would not be a bad option for a backup center. I think he's a really good hustle and energy guy. I think the Heat would love a guy like him, especially how he played in Phoenix this season. He was a very good breath of fresh air for them, and a disappointing end to the season for them. But I'm a huge fan of JaVale McGee's game, man. I think that JaVale McGee is a guy that a lot of contenders would love, just because, like I said, he just plays hard and plays smart and plays to win. You know what I'm saying? He was like a Shaqtin' a Fool guy in the past, but I think he's past those days. I think he's a very valuable piece on a championship team if you could have a guy like that. Jakob Pertl is another guy that Benaya mentioned. I think that was the last name that he mentioned. Jakob Pertl is a good option. I think he's a very underrated center, but again, the problem with him is that he just does not stretch the floor, and I don't like the spacing there in that front court with him, Bam, and Jimmy. So although I do think there is a chance that he might get made available by San Antonio, depending on what they do with the 9th pick, if they go with the guy like Jalen Duren, then yeah, he'll probably get traded. But if not, then I could see them keeping Jakob Pertl because I think he's a very underrated and cheap center, low maintenance guy. As far as the likelihoods of him and McGee as a backup, I would probably give a likelihood of like 6. I think he could be a guy that he'd go out and get. Jakob Pertl, probably like a 4. I don't really see a chance that the Heat trade for or get a guy like Jakob Pertl. I'll probably make that a 3, not a 4. Yeah, a 3. Some more guys that are available. Not available. Some more guys that the Heat could go out and get that I do like their fits. Richaun Holmes is the guy that's probably going to be available. Again, a non-shooter, but I wouldn't really like that. But he is a guy that could be made available because there has been some question marks between him and Sacramento, some falling out there. Brook Lopez, another guy. Whether he's made available or not, we'll see. But I think he could be I think he's the perfect front court partner next to Bam. He's a very good rim protector. He definitely can stretch the floor. Rebounding wise, he's not the best, but I think, you know, just another big body. He'll definitely get more rebounds than PJ Tucker. So if you want to replace him with a guy like Brook Lopez, who also plays for the Bucks, so you're going to take away a center from another contender in the East. Even like a Bobby Portis. Like Bobby Portis and Brook Lopez, coincidentally, are two centers that I would really love with the Heat to play next to Bam if you were to move Bam to the 4. Another guy is Maxie Klieba. I don't know what the likelihood of him getting traded is, or him leaving the Mavericks is, but you know, he is an option. If he were to be made available, I just really like his fit next to Bam. He's a guy who can defend multiple positions and stretch the floor. Now, I think Maxey would be the 4 in that situation, but he is bigger than Tucker, so you would get some size there if you needed to. And apart from that, man, I don't really see any other like big option that's really available. Maybe Montrezl Harrell, but again, he's not really a guy who shoots the ball. When I'm looking in these playoffs right now, a guy like Al Horford is a guy that I would really love on the Heat. But someone in that mold, I would really like on the Heat, even if you wanted to go out and get a Serge Ibaka from the Bucks, who didn't really get playing time in the playoffs. But again, once you start getting to the Ibakas of the world and people like that, you're starting to get to the guys who are going to be backups and not really starting on a championship caliber team. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really know what the likelihood of a guy like Serge Ibaka or anyone of that mold, even like a Maxie Klieba, I don't really know how likely that is to happen, but those are guys who are good fits next to Bam. So these are just some names that I do think, you know, could work next to Bam. Like Christian Wood is probably my favorite option, just because I think he's the best out of all of them, and I do think that he's a guy that's very likely to get moved by the Houston Rockets in the offseason. But you know, if not for Christian Wood, a guy that I did not even mention was Yusuf Nurkic, because he is a free agent this season. Again, do not know what the what he might be demanding in the market. We'll have to see what the market value is for him, because he is coming off a leg injury. So yeah, we'll see what happens, man. As far as, you know, whether we should move Bam to the 4 or not, I would be intrigued by it. I think he is a 4 by nature. He came into the league as a power forward, definitely not as a center. He got moved as a center because, you know, he's a guy that can kind of fit the NBA's undersized center theme, like him, guys like Robert Williams, people like that are definitely changing the direction of the NBA center position, in my opinion. But I know a lot of Heat fans it's very popular with a lot of Heat fans who want him to be a power forward. So we'll see what happens. You know, hopefully, you know, Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra can have some things up their sleeve. But yeah, man, that's probably going to be the end of the video. I did talk about some of these options next to Bam Adebayo, if you were to move him to the 4 or not. Yeah, these are all options that you guys, I think Benaya came up with. But I think a lot of you guys in the comment section, like I would want to shout all of you guys out, but like there were so many of you who said we need some size next to Bam. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, shout out to everyone. Actually, you know, we had a lot of comments and everyone was talking about this. So I did have to make a video about it. You know, if you guys keep commenting about these things, and I see a lot of comments about one particular topic, I'm probably going to make a video about it, because, you know, a lot of Heat fans are wanting to know, you know, what, for example, what Bam Adebayo's fit would be at the 4 position. So that's why I did this video. But yeah, we're going to wrap it up there. Again, hopefully, you know, we see some clarity as to who the Heat might be targeting. But yeah, those are some of the centers that I would like if they were available next to Bam Adebayo. And yeah, I did upload a video on my second channel where I did a full 2-round mock draft, like full first and second round picks 1 through 60, with like a couple of picks missing, obviously because of the tampering thing. But yeah, if you guys are interested in that draft content, I've been uploading like a lot of draft videos. I've been going crazy on draft videos on my second channel. So yeah, go check out the second channel. I will be uploading a video on my main channel, which is this, obviously, the Heat Report, where I will be giving some possible draft fits at pick 27 if the Heat were to keep that pick, because the draft is coming up in a couple weeks. But yeah, I'll see y'all later as always, man. Thanks for watching the video. Have a nice day. Peace.